really have to explain the concept of this video to you because it literally does not make any sense unless I tell you the story behind this. Hey there world, I'm the Courageous Goldfish, and today we're doing something a little bit different. Instead of unboxing a box, which it seems like I do every other week, today we are talking about products I wish existed. So for context, I saw Gwyn Collects do this really awesome video on anime figures I wish existed. And I was like, huh, that's an interesting idea. And so I started kind of like making a list in my head of like, oh, what anime figures would I like to see get made? And then I was like, no, you know, I'm not really an anime figure collector. I'm not in the anime figure community very much. Like, I collect the odd one here and there. I got a couple pre-orders for the next coming months, you know, but I'm not really that invested in the culture, and so it's not gonna really make sense if I make a big video about that because that's not really what my channel is about. It's not central to anime figures, it's just central to my lifestyle, and so I scrapped the idea and I said, no, you know, it just doesn't make sense. And then I saw this on the Good Smile Twitter. I saw this on the Good Smile Twitter, and I was like, because what you don't understand is that this figure was literally on my list of figures I wish existed. Literally, hold on, I'm gonna pull this up in my notes app to tell you exactly what it was that I wrote, because I was a little bit drunk when I wrote this, and so it says, Urza Scarlet with the flame pants. Samurai? Question mark? And then Good Smile's doing it! There's a pop-up parade of the Urza Scarlet Samurai pant version thing with the blades and her top with her boobs. I'm losing my mind over this because Urza Scarlet is one of my absolute favorite anime characters, and I can't wait to own this thing as soon as it goes up for pre-order. I'm on that. Yes, that is why I finally decided to make this video, so that hopefully I can manifest into the world some figures that I would really like to see made. First up on my list of anime figures I wish existed is not a specific character, but more of an anime. I wish they made more figures of Owari no Seraph. I feel like this is a very niche thing to be asking for because the Owari no Seraph fandom is pretty dead. And it was also really active like 4 years ago, and so I really don't have high hopes of this happening, but I think that it would be really cool if they did make some more Owari no Seraph merch, because I really did love that show and I could totally get back into my phase if the fandom was revived. There are several characters that I think are really iconic in Owari no Seraph that would make really cool figures. I know that they did do a line of Men's Hedge technical statues. I think there was Yu, Mika, Guren, and Farid, maybe? I feel like I'm pulling this out of my memory and maybe it doesn't exist, but I think that there were some figures that they did make of Owari no Seraph, but A, expensive, and B, hard to find, and C, the Men's Edge technical statues are a little bit boring. No shade, because I own one. He's literally right there, but it just wasn't interesting to me. And at the time I was broke, so I really wish that they would either do a re-release of the ones that they did, or they would make new ones that are like way more interesting, because it has so much potential. Specifically, what I would really like to see, my favorite character is Guren, so I would love to see some really cool figures of him. Totally would cop one of those. Cruel Tethys, I love her character design. I love that whole thing. I think it would be really cool if we had a figure of her, possibly like twirling like she was in the intro, or maybe with a lot of movement like when she like totally drop-kicked Farid in the first episode. That would be really cool. I really love Shinua. I know that's a really unpopular opinion, but I think it would be really cool to see a figure of her with like the Shikama Doji. Like, they could do so much cool things with Owari no Seraph and they just didn't. So that is a figure line that I wish existed. The second thing I have on this list here is kind of a little bit weird because there are figures that exist of this character, and it's also a cult anime, so it's not totally out of the question for there to be more figures made of her, but I would love to specifically see a pop-up parade Faye Valentine. So I just started watching Cowboy Bebop. I know I'm really late to the train, but I started watching it and I realized that for a cult anime, there are not a lot of figures of it. And so I would really love to see some like budget options. I'm totally drooling over that set of Spike and Faye, like the first gig set. Have you seen that with like the glass in the back? But it's like $300 and it's also sold out everywhere now. But I would love to see some more like budget-friendly Cowboy Bebop figures. I know that people get really weird when it comes to talking about prize figures because they're like, ooh, the integrity of the figure is that it's like super high in detail and like, if you're just a real big fan of Cowboy Bebop, then you'll pay the price. But I would love to see some innovative prize figures of some really cult classic animes, and the pop-up parade is giving me that. It's giving me dynamic poses, it's giving me great facial expressions, they're doing some really great characters, and it's for a really, really good price. So I'm really in love with the pop-up parade line, and I would love to see a super dynamic figure of Faye. I just think that would be so cool if they had like her hair in the wind, she's like holding her gun, got her legs up doing something. I don't know. I haven't seen the whole show, so maybe they could come up with something I can't even think of at this moment, but I would love to see that. And I know that that would sell really well because Cowboy Bebop is a cult classic anime that has a lot of diehard fans, and so I know they could totally sell a whole lot of those figures. So praying and hoping that maybe Good Smile will hear the prayer and make that figure. There are a lot of other characters that I am really hoping and praying that Pop-Up Parade does a rendition of, because I do really just love that line. I love the price, I love the poses, I love the expressions, and so that's just kind of like my wish. Please, Good Smile, make cool Pop-Up Parade characters, but specifically I would like to see a Faye Valentine. So this next thing on my list is a very, very specific targeted request of a thing that I wish existed, and I feel like it's very niche, so I really do not have high hopes of it ever happening, but I have a dirty, shameful past as a Kuro Shitsuji stan, so I can't even like really look straight into the camera lens while I'm saying that because I'm so embarrassed of like my Black Butler past. When I was like 16, Black Butler was my big thing. Like that was my thing, that was my jam. Well, it's kind of obvious because like I bought him in Akihabara for like $100. But I think one of the most iconic scenes in the entire anime is this scene from Book of the Atlantic where Elizabeth Midford shows her true colors and some shit up and like murders a whole horde of zombies on her own. It's this beautiful, amazing scene, and if you watch Black Butler, then you know that the whole entire anime, Lizzie's kind of just been this annoying side character, and she finally gets her main character moment, and you do not understand how amazed I was watching this the first time. It was beautiful. The way that they animated it was so beautiful. The way that her steps were, the way that she fought, I was just absolutely in love with it, and the fierceness of her face. And then I read the manga chapter that it was, and the art was like amazing. I actually have it on my wall here, one of the like screen grabs from the manga of her just like, and I would love, love, love to see a figure of that. I'd love to see it with like her hair in motion. She's got like maybe a blood splatter on her face with this fierce expression. Got her swords out there, maybe her like dress billowing around her. I would love, love, love to see that. Maybe like some water on the base with like her little point shoes. Oh. Oh, if anything on this list, this is the one thing that I have the most concrete idea of that I'm like so sad is probably never gonna happen. I would pay any amount of money, just like sinful amounts of money, to see a figure of this specific anime scene, and it kills me inside that it's never gonna happen. I also feel like that would be something that wouldn't sell as well because the Black Butler fandom, much like the Owari no Seraph fandom, is like kinda dead. It's less dead than Owari no Seraph's, but it's like pretty dead. I feel like all the Black Butler and Owari no Seraph stans just moved on to Boku no Hero. I feel like it's the opportunity is lost. When it was really in its heyday, they could have done that and it would have been crazy, but now I think people are just over it, and it's also been like 4 years since that particular piece of animation was released, and so I don't have high hopes of it ever happening, but I really, really wish that it would, because I would love to see that. The next one on the list is another one that is a specific anime series rather than a character, and that is Revolutionary Girl Utena. This is a cult classic magical girl anime that has like maybe 1 or 2 figures that were ever made for it. I know that there are some that exist. There was an Utena like prize figure that was not too long ago, but I just really wish that some of the other characters got some more love, or we got some really, really awesome figures of this collection, because the whole aesthetics and the art style of the show would lend itself really, really well to some super cool figures, but they just sadly do not exist. Like, I'm sure a lot of people would love to see figures of their favorite Utena boys, or like I think I would probably kill somebody for a figure of Juri. I would love that so much. I love her hair, I love her outfit. Nanami too. Nanami was like my favorite character just purely because she was the comic relief. I'm also a sucker for chicks with swords, and so I think that's partly my problem, is that anytime there is an anime that has chicks with swords in it, I'm like, that one, that's my favorite. So maybe it's not as popular as I think it is, but I would really, really like to see some figures of that, because I just think it's a really, really cult classic anime as well, and it's really underserved as far as merch goes. Next one I had here was the Samurai Pants Ursa, which I'm so excited that they're doing a pop-up parade of. I talked about it in the intro. We already know. We've geeked over it already. There was a garage kit, I think, floating around on the internet that's been like bootlegged to hell and back of this figure, and that was really cool, and I was like, I really wish that they would do something like that again. And then Pop-Up Parade came and answered my silent prayers and it's happening. So thank you, List, for manifesting this into existence. I am going to do something controversial. I'm going to put yet another prayer into the Good Smile gods and say, please, please, after you're finished with the Demon Blade Benizakura Urza, Heaven's Wheel, please, 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 a figure of the Heaven's Wheel armor. They would do it so well too, like it would be so cool. Honestly, I would buy any figure that they made of Urza. If they did like the you know, the one where she has like the purple kimono. Can you tell I like Urza? Can you tell? I love how like a year ago I was like, I'm not an anime figure collector. I have like a couple here and there, and now I've got like 5 different pre-orders, and it's like my wallet cries. And I also used to say, you know, oh, I would only ever buy like, if I really like a character, I'd buy like 1 figure of them and then I'd stop. Cue like me praying to the gods for more Urza figures that I'll spend money on. Like, well, where is my moral code now? Where was that self-restraint? It's gone. The pandemic has completely dissolved my only self-restraint. And it was limited to begin with, really, so I don't know how to cope. I think it's really unpopular to be this obsessed with fairy tale, but you know, if this video tells you anything, I have really trash taste in anime. Like, most of the animes that I really, really love are things that people clown on the fans of, you know? And I like to act like I'm better than everybody else, but it's just like, no. I enjoyed Boku no Hero. I did. And I know I said, like, in a video a couple weeks ago, I was like, ooh, it's not the second coming of Christ that everybody says that it is. Shut the fuck up, you enjoyed it. Like, no, it's no literary masterpiece, but you still watched all 5 seasons within like 2 weeks. Boku no Hero is not on the list, by the way, because we're getting lots of good merch for that, so there's not anything I wish existed that doesn't. This next one is more of a franchise, we can say, maybe. I would love to see some Studio Ghibli figures. I would kill a man for that, absolutely. And I know a lot of people would too, because they are such cult classic films, and I honestly am not really sure why they haven't done it yet. It's so popular in the West, it's so popular in Japan, it's popular all over the world. They could do a lot of these really iconic characters in like a prize figure style, or in like these really great 1/7 scale figures maybe. They could just do so much with the Ghibli characters that are just so beloved. I know Miyazaki is very particular about how his work is used, and so I'm not sure if he's ever said anything on the matter of like, oh, you could never do that, I don't want that to happen, because in which case I would stop wishing for it to happen, because, you know, if he says he doesn't want it to happen, then that's the word of law, right? But I haven't seen anything through my research that has ever explicitly said that he doesn't want figures made, and I really, really wish that they would. Howl's Moving Castle is my comfort movie, and so I would absolutely kill a man for a Howl Pendragon figure. Or even Sophie, I would settle for Sophie. They could do so much with that. Like they could do Chihiro, they could do like maybe a no-face one would be kind of cool, or like Totoro or Princess Mononoke, Ponyo. Like they have so much good material to go off of. Or they could even do some really like subtle, like lesser known Ghibli films. Like they could do Kaguya-san, some Arrietty figures. They could do so much with the franchise, and they just don't. But I would really, really love to see it. Specifically in my head, of something that I see in my dreams is a Howl figure, perhaps like Men's Hedge-esque, where he's just kind of like standing with his cloak draped and he's like kind of like offering his hand to Sophie. I would love to see something like that. Or like maybe something really cool with a lot of movement where his hair is kind of like floating, because when his hair gets floaty, he's like excited and he's got that excited expression on his face. I'd love to see that captured in a figure. They could do figures of Howl and Sophie together. Oh my god. I just wish that this existed so much, and I don't know why it doesn't. I really don't know why it doesn't, because for the Uwari no Seraph or the Black Butler, you know, I feel like it's anime that's more popular in the West than it's not really popular in Japan. Like nobody really knows about it. But with Ghibli, that's like the lifeblood. Like everybody all over the world, even if you're not into anime, has probably heard of Spirited Away. They've probably seen Totoro or something like that, you know? It's just like, it's mainstream enough that I don't understand why it doesn't have any figures. I wish it did. That is the end. That is my silent prayer to the universe for these figures to exist. And hopefully I might have an update of like, it all happened, but I highly doubt it. But I would love to know what you think about this. Let me know in the comments down below what anime figures you wish existed, what animes you wish got more figures, just any ideas that you have. Let me know down below. I want to hear what you have to say. If you happen to like me, hey, hi, hello, you might want to hit the subscribe button and stick around for a little while. I make content about anime figures, collecting, lifestyle, kawaii stuff, and so if you're interested in that, you might want to stick around. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the flip side.